You know that daily horoscope you see in your favorite app? Well, what if I told you there's a system that's thousands of years older, way deeper, and honestly, surprisingly practical? That's Vedic astrology. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a super clear breakdown of what it is, how it works, and what it's really all about. Let's dive in. So, yeah, for most of us, when we hear astrology, we think of that quick little blurb. You'll meet a tall, dark stranger today. And look, that's a fine starting point, but it's truly just the very, very tip of a massive iceberg. What we're talking about today goes so much deeper. The real name for Vedic astrology is Jyotish. It's an ancient practice that comes from the Indian Vedas. And the word itself literally means the science of light. How cool is that? The whole idea is to illuminate the patterns of your life to make the things you can't see suddenly visible. It's less about telling your fortune and way more about powerful pattern recognition. And this right here is probably the most important thing to get from the get-go. A Vedic chart is not some rigid script that says, this is your fate, the end. Not at all. A better way to think of it is as a personalized map of you. It shows you the terrain, your strengths, your challenges, the timing of things, so that you can navigate your life with a whole lot more awareness. So, how is this map even made? Well, it all starts with a very specific, very precise snapshot of the heavens at the exact moment you took your first breath. Let's look at what goes into building this personal blueprint.
To get an accurate chart, you need 3 key ingredients: your birth date, where you were born, and, this is the big one, the exact time. And I mean exact. A few minutes can actually shift the entire structure of the chart, so precision is everything. These 3 little pieces of data let us pinpoint exactly where all the planets were from your unique perspective. Okay, once we have that snapshot, the sky is divided up like a pie into 12 sections. These are called the bhavas, or you can just call them the houses. Each of these 12 houses represents a different area of your life. You've got one for career, one for relationships, one for home. You get the idea. They're basically the different stages where the story of your life happens. Next, we overlay the 12 zodiac signs, which are called the rashis. So if the houses are the areas of life, the signs are the energy or the flavor that colors each of those areas. So maybe your career house has a really fiery go-getter energy, while your home life house has a more grounded, stable vibe. And then we get the players, the grahas, or the planets. These are the active forces, the movers and shakers that create all the action in your life. In Vedic astrology, this includes the planets we all know, from the Sun out to Saturn, plus 2 really important mathematical points called Rahu and Ketu. They have a lot to say about our deepest desires and life lessons. Finally, and this one is a huge deal, we have the Lagna, or the ascendant. This is simply the zodiac sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth. The ascendant is like the master lens for your chart. It sets the whole orientation and becomes the filter through which you experience, well, everything. Now, a quick heads up. If you've spent your whole life thinking you're a Leo, you might find out that in the Vedic system, you're actually a Cancer. And no, that's not a mistake. It all comes down to a really fundamental difference in how the 2 systems measure the sky. Let me break it down. Here's the core of it. Western astrology uses what's called the tropical zodiac. It's fixed to the seasons, so the first day of Aries is always locked to the first day of spring. But Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which is aligned with the actual observable constellations in the sky. And here's the kicker. Over thousands of years, those constellations have drifted. So today, the sidereal zodiac is about 24 degrees behind the tropical one. That little shift is why your sign often gets bumped back to the one before it. Okay, so beyond just describing your personality, one of the most powerful parts of Jyotish is understanding life's timing. It gives you a framework for seeing the rhythms and seasons of your own life. You know, when to hit the gas, when to pump the brakes, and why certain themes just keep showing up. This is done through 2 main layers. First up is the dasha system. This carves up your life into major planetary periods, and some of them can last for years. You can think of it like asking, which planet has the microphone right now? That planet is setting the main theme. The second layer is transits. This is just the real-time movement of the planets today. It's like the daily planetary weather that creates the immediate mood and conditions. And I've got to say it again, it's so important to remember that these timing techniques are not guarantees. They're highlighting probabilities. They show you when there might be a window of opportunity, a period of challenge that's really designed for growth, or a time that's just better for laying low. How you choose to play that hand is always, always up to you. All right, I know this can all sound a little bit abstract, so let's make it totally concrete. How does this info actually translate into a real-life strategy? Let's use a classic example to see how you can use this map to choose your path wisely. Okay, so let's imagine your birth chart shows that the planet Saturn is a big player in your 10th house, which is the house of your career. Now, Saturn, it kind of gets a bad rap, right? It's known for being tough, but in Jyotish, every planet has a job to do. So Saturn in your career house absolutely does not mean you're doomed to fail. Not even close. What it points to is a path of mastery that comes through patience. It suggests that quick wins aren't your style. Success is going to come from discipline, from having really high standards, and from just showing up consistently. The key insight is that the rewards are huge, but they're long-term, built on a rock-solid foundation. And this brings us right back to the main point. When you know this, you can align your actions with that energy. Instead of getting frustrated that things are moving slowly, you can lean into a strategy of patient, methodical work. See? You're not being controlled by some planet. You're just reading the map and choosing the smartest route to get where you want to go. At the end of the day, the real power of a system like Jyotish isn't about getting rigid answers about what's going to happen. It's to help you start asking better, more powerful questions about your life, right here, right now. So let's be crystal clear about what Vedic astrology is not. It is not a fixed script for your life. It's not an excuse to avoid taking personal responsibility for your choices. And it is definitely not a reason to be afraid of the planets. In Vedic thinking, even the most challenging planetary periods are just seen as important teachers, showing up to give us the lessons we need to learn. So instead of asking, what's going to happen to me, a much more empowering question is, given the current planetary vibe, what are my natural strengths that I should be doubling down on right now? And when things feel hard, instead of feeling like a victim of fate, you can ask, okay, what is the core lesson this challenge is trying to teach me? Where am I being asked to grow, or maybe show up a little differently? And finally, when you're planning for the future, you can ask a really strategic question. Based on the big picture cycles, does this feel like a season for me to make a bold move? Or is it a smarter time to prepare, to study, and to build my foundation quietly behind the scenes? In the end, no chart, no map, no system can live your life for you. That journey is yours and yours alone. But a tool like Jyotish, when you use it with a little wisdom, can absolutely light up the path ahead, helping you make clearer choices and find a whole lot more meaning in the journey.